Welcome back, folks. This is the Political Goat. I'm your host, Uncle Felix. Thanks for joining me today. We got a busy day today. We're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about Amy Barrett finally getting confirmed. We're going to talk about that what is now, I guess, dubbed the infamous Carlson Tucker interview tonight. Um, he's going to have on a special guest that's supposed to blow the doors open on Biden. Um, the whole Hunter Biden issue. So that should be interesting. We're also going to talk a little bit about the threats that the Democrats are making if they take power, which is pure insanity. And we're also going to talk about the Trump momentum that's building. So it should be fun. I hope you stick around. But before we get started, we're going to pay some bills, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back. And before we get into Amy, actually, I want to give kudos to where it's due. And I want to give kudos to the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, a.k.a. Cocaine Mitch. He's here. He's here to traffic cocaine and confirm Supreme Court justices, and he's all out of cocaine. For those of you that don't remember that reference, back in 2014, Mitch was involved. Actually, I mean, it was nothing on his part. I guess the Colombian Navy had had stopped the boat, and they found some hidden cocaine that was hidden on a boat that was owned by a company that his father-in-law owned, and it was actually a small amount of cocaine. So it was nothing to do about anything. But of course, the Democrats were trying to seize on it and make it a huge issue. Again, nothing came of it, but ever since then, I know I've been calling him Cocaine Mitch, which is which I found funny. But anyway, he's been doing a great job of getting the nominees in, not only in the Supreme Court but also throughout the federal district courts. I want to say Trump now has appointed pretty closer over 200 federal court justices, and that's in large part for Mitch, putting it on the agenda and getting it through. But I do want to give a special congratulations to Amy Coney Barrett. She was sworn in yesterday. It was a beautiful ceremony. She was sworn in by my favorite Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas. She became the 115th overall Supreme Court Justice and only the fifth woman overall. She's saying all the right things, so hopefully she will be cut from the same mold that her mentor was, and that's Antonin Scalia, who was a great Supreme Court justice. So hopefully we're getting something in that mold. And my favorite part is she's driving the liberals batty. She's driving them absolutely insane. And despite of what they tell you. They're trying to make it look like this is something out of the ordinary. They can't believe Donald Trump is doing this. And, here's the key thing, right? And it's a very good point here. No president has failed to nominate a justice when the seat has been made available. No president. I know they like to throw out the guy there that Obama was trying to get in. His name is skipping my mind right now, but that's not the case. Obama did nominate him. He just was not confirmed by the Senate, and at that time, the Senate was controlled by by the Republicans, and the Republicans are under no obligation to confirm a judge put forth by the president. That's why it's good to have control of the Senate when you're putting up these nominations. And like Barack Obama famously once said, elections have consequences. And in this case, the consequences for Obama at that time was that he did not have control of the Senate, and therefore his nomination could not go through. So this whole thing of again, that this is unbelievable what's going on. It's unprecedented. It's total BS. It's rhetoric, and it makes no sense. Um, but the voters they spoke on the issue already. 'Cause that's the other thing. The Democrats are trying to push that. We're in the middle of an election. The voters need to decide. The voter decided in 2016. In 2016, they voted in President Donald Trump. They voted him in for a 4-year term, nothing less, okay, and nothing more. Um, that's what the 2020 elections are for. And when they voted him in, they knew that it was very likely that he was going to be able to put 2 or even 3 Supreme Court justices on the in the SCOTUS, and that's exactly what's going on. Shame on Ruth Bader Greensburg there for not stepping down earlier. I guess what they're saying is that she wanted she wanted Hillary Clinton to replace her, so she was holding out for that. Because everybody was so sure that Hillary was going to win. Hillary did not win. Trump won, and she did not get her quote unquote dying wish that everybody likes to say. But all that being said, I do wish Amy Coney Barrett the best. Again, hopefully she turns out to be in the same mold as Antonin Scalia, and hopefully we have a good one for the next 20, 30 years. And with that being said, I will be right back right after this. And we're back. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait for the Tucker Carlson show tonight, because his special guest is going to be Tony Bobulinski, and here he is here. Um, he's supposedly has a bombshell for us, folks. What he's going to tell everyone is that Joe Biden's denials of his involvement in his son's dealings with the foreign countries, especially China, are a blatant lie, and he has firsthand knowledge. He is a Navy veteran. He's a former head of Seamohawk Holdings, which is a company that is owned by the Biden family. And he says he's personally spoke to Joe Biden about the dealings in China. So this is going to be very interesting. Now, he was interviewed by the FBI on Friday. Um, Not sure how that went. I'm sure we will find out soon. He did hand over some evidence, including 3 cell phones that's supposed to have information directly linking Joe Biden and Hunter Biden to dealings with China. And I don't know about you. There's a ton of photos being leaked from what I like to call the laptop from hell, which is Hunter Biden's laptop. For those of you that don't know that story, he brought the laptop to a repair shop in Delaware. He never came back to retrieve it. Then it became the property of that repair shop. The guy went into that thing. He found all sorts of things, and long story short, he ended up turning it over to the FBI. He also made some copies of it, just in case nothing happened there. And then he turned over another copy, I guess, over to Rudolph, to Mr. Giuliani, and um, and and we all know the rest. Rudy's made that information public. Now, there's also some people out of China, GTV, who has been leaking information from this laptop, and I gotta say, it's very interesting stuff. I'm a little skeptical of some things, obviously, because unless it's confirmed by somebody who I find reputable, I'm not going to run away with it. But these pictures, I mean, they're clearly of Hunter Biden. And if you thought Rex Ryan had a foot fetish, I mean, whoo, Hunter is on a whole nother level. Um, the sad thing about it is, there's some photos on there that looks like the girls could be underage. Um, and in all cases, most of these women are prostitutes and probably trafficked, which is sad. I mean, it's just not a good thing for the Biden family with this. I mean, the explicit photos and videos obviously have nothing to do with the father, but it's the emails that implicate Joe that's the damning evidence. That's what that's what we're all waiting to see what happens there. And speaking of waiting to see, this is this is a picture of some of us, waiting for the mainstream media to actually cover this issue, and now that Carlson is actually, interviewing Bobulinski tonight. Maybe that's going to force the hand. I mean, he has one of the highest rated shows on TV. So maybe now people will be forced to pay attention to what's going on there. And I don't know, from the things I've seen, it's a big issue. It's something that could get voters to change their mind. And the New York Post actually put out a story today about that it actually has changed some people's minds already. Some people who regret that they voted early. Which brings me, to another quick point. This early voting thing is insanity. I totally get absentee voting. If you can't be somewhere, that's fine. But this early voting, when you're voting, months ahead of the election, what sense does that make? There's so many things that could turn and change within those months. You know, and then for you to do that, it's nonsense. It's something that we need to get rid of, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother story. But this whole speaking of the elections, I mean, this whole thing got the Dems. This is not your grandfather Democratic Party. That's for sure. This Democratic Party is off the hinges. I mean, they're making threats now. They're so upset with this Amy Coney Barrett appointment that they're threatening one to pack the courts, or to pack the Supreme Court. They're talking about bringing up the number to 13. So let's say everything goes bad on November 3rd, and they take control of the Senate and the White House. So they're looking at increasing the number of the Supreme Court justices from 9 to 13. And packing obviously with liberal friendly justices. Therefore, they would be weaponizing the Supreme Court. They're also Nancy Pelosi came out today and said that they might actually add district courts. You know what I mean? Because like earlier, I said Trump has appointed about 200 federal judges, um, and so they're not too happy about that. So they might possibly add district courts to counter that, which is craziness. They're also looking, obviously, we've heard this over the years. They want to eliminate the electoral college, and the reason that is that makes it the path to the presidency more difficult for them, because most of their voters are concentrated in the cities, in the big cities. But obviously, we have 50 states, and our founding fathers wanted, all the states basically to have a say in who becomes the president of the United States, and that's the way it should be. We are not a democracy, thank God, and we are a republic, and we need to keep that electoral college there before we fall victim to mob rule, which is what a uh, um, democracy is. The other thing that they're looking to do, they want to add even seats to the Senate and to the House. And how are they going to do that? They want to grant statehood to places like Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. Again, pure nonsense. Um, it just shows how power hungry they are, and this is why we really need to show up and vote, and keep that power out of their hands. I mean, this is the most consequential election definitely in my lifetime, and probably since Abraham Lincoln. You know what I mean? This is I can't stress enough how much we need to get out there and vote. And for those of you that are in places where they're offering the early voting, which I think is everywhere now, get out there and vote. And let's keep these clowns out of power. I mean, they're so desperate for it that they can't even hide it right now. But all that being said, the good news is that the polls are everything is trending in Trump's favor and has been doing so for the last basically couple of weeks, ever since that last debate where he did an excellent job. By the way, he actually he let Biden put his own foot in his mouth. As the debate went on, Trump got stronger, Biden got weaker, and the biggest takeaway there from that debate was when Biden was admittedly said that he is looking to basically destroy the oil industry, and Trump pointed it out correctly in that debate is okay. Well, there goes Texas, there goes Pennsylvania, there goes Oklahoma, there goes he listed a couple other states who depend heavily on the oil industry. I mean, you're talking about close to 1 million jobs, I think, in Pennsylvania alone, that depend on the oil industry. And then if you're gonna shut down the oil industry, that means you're coming after probably the coal industry as well. I mean, this whole Green New Deal thing, that's backed by AOC and the radical left, is total insanity. And Biden has subscribed to that because what people don't talk about, he signed an agreement, or a unity agreement, I should say, with Bernie Sanders, and all this is all laid out, all the things that he wants to do. And the other thing that that Biden put his foot in his mouth was about the fracking, because he came out and was saying how he is not against fracking, but clearly there's all sorts of video out there saying that he is against fracking and he wants to shut it down. And again, that's going to eliminate tons of jobs. It's going to damage the economy. It's going to gas prices, energy prices will go through the roof, as they were when he was in office last time. So why would we expect anything different? It's total nonsense. And kudos to Trump for actually showing restraint this time around, and letting Biden stumble all over himself, because ever since then, Trump's poll numbers have been trending in the right way. I mean, there's all sorts of polls out there. Some have Biden up, some have Trump up now. But the bottom line is they're all trending up in Trump's favor. So even the ones that had Biden ahead now have him ahead by a much smaller margin. He's actually in a better place today than he was back at this time in 2016. So don't let those fake polls discourage you. Like I said, get out there and vote. And that being said, when I come back, we're going to talk about my NFL Power 5. And there's a new number one team, folks. And we all know who that is. And we all know why that makes me happy. Before we get into that, let's go to another commercial break. Hold on. Welcome back, folks. And here it is, this week's Uncle Felix's Power 5. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to see there. That is so gorgeous. The Pittsburgh Steelers are my number one team, and they are, by the way, the only undefeated team in the NFL, sitting pretty at 6-0. What a crazy game they had this week. against the Titans. They jumped off to a big lead. I thought they were going to cruise to a victory, but they held on by the skin of their teeth. But nonetheless, it was a win. And somebody's had to go that game, and it wasn't the Steelers. Again, we sit at 6-0 at number one. My number two team, Seattle. I still think they're tough. They did lose this week. They lost to Arizona in overtime, and Wilson actually looked human. But you know what? He's he's okay to have a bad game here and there. He is, after all, only human. Um, my number three team, Baltimore Ravens. They had a bye last week, so they couldn't hurt themselves. KC at number four. They crushed Denver 43-16 and just a dominant performance there. And number five, I thought I was done with this guy. I thought I thought once he went to Tampa Bay, a couple of weeks into the season when they were like 2-2 or something like that, I was like, all right, Brady's gonna slip away into mediocrity. And every time, it never fails. Every time I write that guy off, he throws it right back in my face. And he did it again this week. He threw another 4 touchdowns. And now, now he's put himself probably in the conversation for MVP. Kudos to him, the ageless wonder down there. And my two honorable mentions, I'm going to go with Cleveland Browns, who are at 5-2. Mayfield had 5 touchdowns against the Bengals, and that was a great game, 37-34 win against the Bengals. And then my other honorable mention, I'm going to give Tennessee, who only has 1 loss, and that was to my Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's not a bad loss at all. They should probably be a little higher on there, but we'll see how things unfold. I'm going to give them just an honorable mention spot this time around. But those are my picks. I hope you like them. Again, I can't stress how much how important it is to get out there and vote. Now, next week's show should be a very interesting show. I'm going to go live, and I'm going to go live for multiple hours because it is obviously election day. I'm still working out the details on that, but I'm thinking of going till probably midnight. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a crazy night. I feel good about it. I think the red wave is coming, and I think we're going to see that on next Tuesday. But I also know that there's going to be a lot of mail-in ballots that haven't come in yet, which may prevent a lot of these networks from actually calling the race. But we'll see. I do have a feeling it's going to be an overwhelming red wave coming, and I want to be there front row to enjoy that. And again, if you're at 9 o'clock, tune in to Tucker Carlson, and we'll see Joe Biden's family and how they were for sale. So that should be interesting. Again, thanks for joining me. I will see you next week. And if you want to, check in with my Facebook page, and I will put up updates on what times I will. It's going to be. I'm going to come on at my normal time, 8 o'clock. I'm just not sure how long I'm going to stay on for. I got to talk to the powers that be about that, but it should be some fun. I'm going to have some multiple guests on the show, so we should have some fun with it. And again, get out there and vote, and I'll see you next week. God bless.